Hi there, welcome to Yoga with Pat. I'm Pat, and here I share my two passions, art making and yoga. I am an artist, a painter, a mom, a yoga teacher. Here I want to make yoga and art making accessible to everybody. So I use a lot of props. You'll also find some fun painting tutorials here on my channel, specifically a series of chakra paintings. Give those a try. They are fun and easy, and I incorporate a little yoga break in the middle. So each chakra painting is themed. There is also a moon painting on there and more to come. So your suggestions are welcome, and comment and like any of the videos that you watch and you paint, and then follow me on social media. I'd also love to see any paintings that you've finished that you've done with me. First things first, you may notice that I'm propped up on something. I started my daily yoga practice, my commitment to yoga, a little later in life, at 35 years old after having a child. So I am not naturally flexible. My hips aren't naturally open, and especially in the mornings when I start, a sitting practice or my meditation practice, I start propped up on a couple of pillows and on a blanket. So let me show you why I use these things. First of all, two pillows stacked on top of each other and kind of in this diagonal shape to tilt my hips forward so that my hips are over my knees and my knees aren't hiked up high. So this makes just starting that practice, even your studio practice, like really comfortable. A lot of times in a studio practice, we start seated like this in our cross-legged position in our Sukhasana, and then we go through some breathing exercises, setting a rhythm with our breath through these familiar hand movements, maybe going into a little side stretch, or maybe even taking a twist. And all of that is really hard when we're just fighting to sit up. This might look familiar to you. Arched spine, trying to send your weight forward as your hips are up. And this is just not a great way to start out your practice, and especially start finding some mobility in the back and in the ribs. So a better way to start is with the spine long by being able to tilt the hips forward. So starting out either seated on a couple of blankets or on a couple of pillows or even a bolster is really gonna help you set yourself up to have that long spine and also get the movement that you're looking for. It's really hard to go into a twist when you're just fighting to sit up. That's why I start out my practice sitting up on something. And then blankets, they're just so amazing. They're just such a great and versatile yoga prop, and really you can use any blanket that you find in your house. These are $10 blankets that I got at a gas station. Some of them I got in New Mexico, some in Las Vegas, so just in the travels. So $10. You can also use, fleece throw blankets that you might have, on your couch for guests, whatever you have lying around. Even a beach towel, especially if you're doing hot yoga, a beach towel is great. Another thing I might use a blanket for is something like Janu Shirshasana. This might also be familiar. Maybe your hamstrings are a little tight, especially if you're like a runner or a cyclist, and you kind of have your leg bent over here. Maybe you're already sitting up on something, but still this is a little bit uncomfortable and your leg is doing a lot of work to stay extended, which means that your hamstrings are going to remain tight if you're fighting to keep your leg up like this. So in order to release those hamstrings, we can allow the leg to relax by setting it up on a blanket just under the knee so the knee feels nice and safe, so we're relieving any added tension. If your knee also hangs up like this, a blanket underneath the knee or even a block can help you just really fully relax into the pose, so then your body can start to give way forward. Of course, pulling our toe in, still keeping that leg active, lifting that kneecap, and then bringing the body over the leg. And of course, another great prop that you might see often in yoga videos or at your studio is a yoga belt. But what really is a yoga belt other than a belt, right? It has these handy dandy little D hooks that you might find useful in some postures. One of the ways I use the belt a lot is for Gomukhasana arms. Taking the belt over the shoulder, then taking the arm up, bending the elbow, grasping the belt from behind, and then taking the other arm around and taking the belt with that hand. So here we inhale, and then we might slowly walk the fingers towards each other while using the belt. And it's a wonderful shoulder stretch. You don't need to have or bring a specific yoga belt to your studio or even in your home practice. A towel works for something like Gomukhasana. There's really a lot of space even for the tightest shoulders to come through. A lot of times I'll instruct people to hold onto their shirt, or even if you have a scarf lying around, it's winter, you might even bring a scarf with you. You could use your scarf for even some of the poses that maybe require a little bit more length, like our Supta Hasta Parangustasana. So again, even just if you need like a little bit of space here, even your towel might work. Or again, if you need a little bit more room, a scarf. Now, this might be a little bit more of an investment, but let me tell you that your yoga bolster is worth it. One of the props that I just loved the most, especially in the beginning of my practice, I have super tight hamstrings normally, was the bolster. The bolster is really amazing, especially this one. I got this, I believe this is a, not that I have a sponsor or anything, but this is a Yoga Direct bolster. It's really thick, really heavily packed. When you sit on it, it doesn't give a whole lot. If you're starting out your practice with tight hamstrings, just sitting on this bolster will allow you, especially in seated forward fold, to set your spine over your hip so that you can begin to bring the body forward. And it's that gravity and that relaxation of the back muscles from not having to fight to sit up that's going to let those muscles in the backs of the thighs give way as you come forward, allowing for some stretch, allowing for some hamstring stretch. So if you have a belt, you know, maybe not using the belt to crank, but using the belt for a little bit of stability can help you open up through the heart. Really check in with those knees, lifting those knees and strengthening those quadriceps as we come forward. So here again, we can take that into any of our forward folds, just finding a little tilt forward. It's really great. And yeah, if your hips are tight, this is going to help you. Another way you might find a bolster handy is in something like a seated Upavishta Konasana, wide-legged forward fold, seated. I like to use the bolster, especially in my yin practice, to really relax into this fold. So allowing my elbows to maybe keep me propped up, maybe relaxing my head onto my hands. And here the forward fold here just becomes a little bit more accessible, allows you to relax into the pose a little bit more, allowing you to relax those muscles so those muscles begin to give way. And of course, the block. A lot of people look at this like they're not as advanced in their yoga practice. That's not true. And even as your flexibility starts to grow, even as maybe in standing poses, your hand starts to reach the floor, you can always use it in other ways. One way that you can use it is in Baddha Konasana. Konasana. Sometimes just the way that our anatomy is, it doesn't allow us to fully open up into Baddha Konasana or allow the hips to tilt forward in Baddha Konasana. So here, see if this, putting your feet on the block, can help you move forward and deeper into that pose. So many ways that you can use props. So a block is a great place to start, especially if you're struggling in your standing poses. A block can help you find stability by just lengthening your arm or bringing the floor up to you. One standing pose that was really hard for me in the beginning to find balance in was revolved triangle. So in regular triangle, we bring the front foot forward facing the front of the mat. The arch of the back foot intersects with the front heel. And then we bring the hips forward. We come forward. Maybe the block is on the outside of the foot. And we bring that right hand down and then rotate, opening up through the heart. Then maybe bringing that right arm up. So the block here helps us fill in the gap between our hand and the floor so we can find nice alignment throughout our side body, down the back leg, without compromising the spine by flexing the spine forward at trying to find the floor. Here, the block helps us really feel out this pose, really feel grounded through the pose so that we can target the intended points in the body. From here, what might be even harder, because in Trikonasana, of course, we can just find the leg here and then open up this way, even if our hand doesn't reach the floor. So that's fine. But even more challenging is revolved triangle. And really, in revolved triangle, trying to use the leg as a point of balance can feel a little bit ungrounded. So what I like to do, especially with newer students who haven't found their balance yet in this pose, or again, maybe students who have to take a little bit of a wider stance in this pose, whatever the reason, having two blocks stacked on top of each other in front of the foot really gives a firm place to plant the hand. So then you can concentrate on opening up through the front of the body, lengthening the spine, pulling the belly in. You can target all of these things without worrying about falling over. And then exhale, rotating towards the extended leg, finding the twist there, and then eventually taking the hand up. Another great prop for this is the chair. We all have chairs. We have a chair at home. Maybe you have a dining chair. Maybe you have a folding chair like this. You know, whatever chair, as long as it's a steady chair, not on wheels, it's going to work. And again, we can take our triangle here, a revolved triangle, again, setting our hips towards the front of the mat like we would normally, placing our hand in the middle of the chair underneath of the face, and then finding that stability, sending that femur into that hip socket so the hips are level, and then taking that rotation into the middle of the back, bringing the heart forward. And then arm goes up. Amazing tool to use in your home practice. And it doesn't have to be any sort of special chair. Another great thing to use a chair for is going to be any of your balancing poses, especially if, you know, we don't all have a free wall in our house. Maybe your house is like mine and there's shelves and frames and pictures everywhere. I don't really have a free wall for my practice. I kind of have to move a lot of things around. So a chair always comes in handy for those balancing poses if you're just having one of those days, you know? So you can use it in tree pose, and it doesn't have to be a thing that you're just like holding on to for dear life, but you can just use it as something to check your balance, right? So we're bringing our foot forward into tree, taking that leg out, pulling that standing hip in, finding our strength, and then knowing the chair's there if we need it, or if we're having a really steady day, then just taking it up, but knowing, whoop, you know, once that leg starts to shake, if you need to check, find your chair, find a little stability, it's there. Another great pose is Utthita Hasta Padangusthasana. So here we are, we have our chair. Now this is a pose that, you know, a lot of us definitely just like need to have a friend around, like maybe a wall. But here we can use the chair, take the leg out. If we're feeling balanced, take the hand back to the hip, but no, the chair is always there if we need it. Taking the leg out, refinding our balance, chair's there, taking it back forward, whoop, chair's there, inhaling, pulling the foot towards us, right, chair's still there, and then finally taking the foot out, bring it down, and then you just take the chair to the other side, so you don't even have to turn around. You know, if you're doing a Zoom class to be facing your camera, the chair is going to be something that you can move around. So as you can see, there's a ton of ways we can use props. Obviously we haven't gone through every single way we can use every prop, but look forward to some future videos that focus on one individual prop and numerous ways that we can use them through a single yoga flow. I'll be putting those out shortly, so look forward to a future playlist. And also, as always, I'll be posting more painting videos in the near future. Like and comment on any of the videos that you enjoy, and if you end up painting along with one of my videos, please follow me on social media and share your paintings with me. I'd love to post some finished paintings in the future. Like this video and subscribe to my channel. See you soon.